My beloved brothers and sisters, I am speaking to you now with a weight of urgency that comes from a place of deep love and concern for your spiritual and worldly state. In this very moment, I need you to close the doors to the noise of the world and listen with the ear of your heart. We are living in an age of unprecedented distraction. Too many souls have become passive spectators in the grand theater of other people's lives, while their own God-given script remains unread, its pages blank, its potential unrealized. Day and night, a relentless scroll through digital highlight reels poisons the spirit with the venom of comparison. Look at his success. Look at her perfect journey. Look at their beautiful home. These have laid dings with their luxurious car, their seemingly flawless family. This endless hypnotic watching is a silent thief, stealing your time, your ambition, and your peace. And while you are busy auditing the lives of others, your own life, your one precious, irreplaceable life is passing you by, its chapters unwritten, its music unsung. This truth strike you with the force of a divine revelation. Your salvation, your success, your peace begins the moment you tear your gaze away from the crowd and focus and with fierce determination on yourself. Command your day, stop the compulsive need to announce your sacred plans to the marketplace of casual opinions. Stop kneeling at the altar of public validation before you have even stood up to take your first faithful step. Understand this divine principle. Not every pair of eyes deserves a glimpse of your blueprint. Not every ear is worthy of hearing the whispers of your soul. Sometimes your silence is your most powerful shield. Sometimes your privacy is your profound, untouchable strength, the fortress that guards the fragile seed of your dream until it is strong enough to break ground. How many people make this fatal error? They shout their God-sized dreams into the ears of those with earth-bound vision and limited hearts, and then they weep with confusion when their fire is met with a bucket of cold water. Bingo, my dear family, not every soul can comprehend the sheer magnitude of your calling. Not every heart will beat in rhythm with your unique purpose, and that is not only okay, it is by design. And He released the need for their understanding, because Allah comprehends everything. His understanding is complete. His vision is perfect. Tanfun, and His plan for you is unfolding even when no human being bears witness. I see too many beautiful lives postponed. I see healing delayed, growth stunted, and courageous next steps abandoned on the side of the road, all because they are waiting, endlessly waiting for another fallible human being to grant them a permission that Allah has already written in their destiny. But this, my brothers and sisters, is not the divine way. This is the way of shackles. If you live as a hostage to the approval of others, you will die a prisoner in the silent dungeon of your own doubts. You will squander your precious days in a desperate, exhausting chorus of, what do they think? Do they approve? Do they like my plan? This craving for external validation has become a spiritual and psychological plague upon our generation. We have foolishly auctioned our innate given self-worth to the hollow, bankrupt currency of likes, follower counts, shares, and the empty, fleeting echo of human applause. Here is the raw, unshakable, eternal reality you must cement in your heart, even if your entire journey is met with a deafening silence, even if not a single soul stands to cheer you on. And so then you are commanded to march forward. Your God-planted dreams do not require a human signature of consent. You do not need a committee vote or a green light from the crowd. You will listen deeply and quiet to the word. Have to trust the divine compass Allah has placed in the chamber of your soul. Look at the giants of faith and history. They were ridiculed, scorned, and cast out. They were labeled fools, dreamers, and radicals. They were despised and opposed. Yet they pressed on. Why? What was their secret? They were not fueled by the fickle, changing noise of the crowd. They were propelled by a blazing, unmistakable internal clarity of mission, a conviction that echoed in their spirit louder than any external voice. They knew with every fiber of their being that Allah was sufficient for them, hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, even if every single soul on earth stood in doubt. Therefore, I implore you, go and do not let another person's inability to see your vision infect you with the disease of self-doubt. People will inevitably project, they will vomit their own fears, insecurities, and limitations onto the path Allah has cleared for you. They will hiss warnings disguised as concern. It's too dangerous, it's too difficult. Be realistic. If you fail and look foolish, you must recognize those tremors for what they are. They belong to their heart, not yours. Their fears are not your prophecy. Your journey is yours alone, and it awed by the divine. And if Allah has ignited a holy fire in your chest, a longing for change, for growth, for service, for achievement, then you must honor it. You must walk toward its light, steadily with sacred and unshakable sincerity. Understand that the most pivotal, life-altering choices you will ever make will unfold in the private, the holy chamber between your Creator. Onviance, no ovation, no external commentary, just raw trust, just complete tawakkul, placing your full reliance on Him, just followed by decisive, inconsistent action. Now, I must ask you a question that demands brutal honesty, a question that must travel to the deepest, most secret part of your spirit. You want you to, I want you to answer in the quiet of your own conscience. How many times have you stood at the very threshold of your own progress, your hand on the door and frozen? And not because you lack the strength or the wisdom, but because you were paralyzed by the imagined whispers of other people. You know how many glorious dreams have you quietly surrendered to the graveyard of someday, or maybe later? How many golden, God-sent opportunities have you let vanish into the fog of hesitation, all sacrificed on the bloody altar of what might they say, what might they think? That dread, that chilling, suffocating fear of human judgment is one of the great silent assassins of human potential. It paralyzes the soul, it shackles ambition with invisible chains. And while you are held captive by this fear, your most precious, non-renewable commodity, your irreplaceable time, is bleeding away second by second, day by day. The time you were meant to use to build your legacy, to grow in grace and knowledge, to rise in purpose and service, you're instead donating to the empty void of waiting. If you're waiting for permission from another slave, waiting for a cheer from the sidelines from someone who may not even be running their own race, waiting for a yes that was never ever theirs to give you in the first place, the instant you spiritually and emotionally sever that addictive need for external approval, that is the instant you seize back your divine authority. That is the moment your power returns. Fast, because success and destiny bow to no man's schedule. They do not pause for a round of applause. They do not require a chorus of human voices to validate their birth. They demand one thing. And one thing only, that you find the courage to take that first trembling faithful step, even if your shadow is your only companion on the road. Allah, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, Zunda gifted you a brilliant, capable mind, a resilient feeling heart, a unique set of skills and experiences. So I ask you again, with a love that compels me to be direct, what are you waiting for? Who are you waiting for? Our collective modern error is that we have become fluent in the language of speech, but illiterate in the language of action. We proclaim more than we produce. Suddenly we unveil and share every single plan before the foundation is even dug, before the first brick is laid. I will launch this project. I will open that business. I will transform my career. I will memorize the Quran. I will embrace hijab with style. I will establish my prayers in the mosque. And what inevitably follows, words attract a swarm of opinions like flies to honey. And not every opinion is pure. Not every voice carries divine wisdom or has your best interest at heart. Some will scoff with cynicism. Some often unconsciously will plant subtle, venomous seeds of hesitation and doubt. You're not prepared. It's too much of a gamble. That the market is bad. Why are you trying? Just be content. And without your conscious permission, a sinister shift occurs within you. You begin to hesitate. The initial divine spark dims, but the sacred momentum given to you by that first inspiration stalls and sputters, dying before the race of your destiny even has a chance to begin. This is why the prophetic wisdom teaches us that silence is a celestial armor. The Prophet Muhammad illuminated the supreme value of intention. Inamal amalu biniyat, actions are judged in the sight of Allah by their intentions, not by their announcements, not by their social media fanfare, not by the volume of their public spectacle, but by what exists in the hallowed, private, intimate space between a servant and their Lord alone. Let this principle reshape your behavior. Not every thought in your heart requires a microphone. Not every move you make needs a public audience. Not every plan you conceive deserves a preview screening. The most impactful, transformative people you know or read about often began their work in profound, purposeful silence. They labored in the quiet corners in the early mornings while others slept. They sacrificed in the unseen places their struggles known only to Allah. And when Allah, in His perfect timing, decreed their manifestation, when He chose to lift the veil, the world would gasp in surprise. Where did this come from? How did they achieve this? What they did not see, what they could not witness, were the lonely nights of heartfelt dua, to the silent streaks of tears wiped away in trust, the unwavering dogged faith that was the only fuel for every difficult step. So I command you with compassion, and stop seeking a standing ovation before you've performed the work on the stage of your life. Stop announcing the seed while it is still safely in the palm of your hand. Let your consistent actions become your only true declaration. Let your tangible success, by Allah's leave, roar on your behalf with an eloquence no speech can match. Let Allah be your only necessary witness, not the fickle, changing crowd. Hold on to this promise. The world may never acknowledge your struggle. It may never see your tears or your tireless effort, but Allah, Basir, seeing, witnesses every single stride. He sees every silent tear that waters the seed of your dream. He knows if every hidden sacrifice made in His name, and in His perfect, wise and beautiful time, He will elevate you in a manner so profound, so tailor-made for your story. No human hand could ever have orchestrated it. And sufficient is Allah as a protector, and sufficient is Allah as a helper. Let this verse be the drumbeat of your heart. When you finally purify and sharpen your focus, your entire existence will begin to transform. You will stop draining your spiritual and emotional energy on the futile task of defending your dreams to critics and skeptics. You will cease begging others to believe in a vision that was, let us speak first and foremost, given for your eyes to see and your heart to pursue. Instead of talking about it, you will be building it. Instead of explaining why you are doing it, you will be living it. This shift from commentator to creator, from explainer to executor is the grand. Between those who ascend the mountains of their destiny and those who remain eternally stagnant in the valley of what if. Observe closely those who truly achieve the end. So in any meaningful realm, spiritual, professional, personal, do not spend their days heralding what they intend to do. They rise with determination, place their absolute into uncompromising trust in Allah and immerse themselves in the sacred work. They allow their results, their character, their impact to testify for them, and that testimony, when it comes, the partisan rings with a clarity, authenticity, and power that no promotional speech or clever announcement can ever hope to match. There is profound ancient wisdom in the quiet, deliberate movement of the purposeful. Because silence is spiritual protection. Silence is energetic preservation. In silence is the razor sharp focus that cuts through the dense fog of distraction and doubt. Now, let me speak a difficult but necessary truth that you must have the courage to hear. Not every person in your orbit, not every voice in your life genuinely desires or is equipped to handle your victory. This is a painful reality of the human condition. Some individuals, to be fleeting, even those who smile kindly, may unconsciously nurse a secret hope for your setback. Why? Because your ascension, your growth, your courage can act like a mirror held up to their own complacency, their own unlived dreams, and that mirror is painfully revealing. They may offer well-meaning but ultimately anchoring advice, murmuring, "But are you certain? It's a big risk. It is alone. Perhaps you should delay until the time is better." All subtle, often unintentional attempts to keep you tethered to the familiar shore they themselves are afraid to leave. Hey, but when you choose with wisdom and faith to move in sacred silence, subhanallah, you disarm this dynamic completely. You operate on a frequency they cannot access. They cannot meddle with what they cannot perceive. They cannot pour cold water on a fire they cannot see. By the time the world realizes what you have been building, the structure is complete. The doors are open, the foundation is unshakable, and their opinions are rendered irrelevant. This is the superior prophetic way. Move with humble resolve, move with patient tenacity, move with a quiet, unstoppable day-by-day consistency that amazes even you. So many in our time mistake noise for progress. They confuse chatter with change. They are busy talking, posting, London debating, discussing, theorizing, yet their feet remain firmly planted in the same spot year after year. Discussing change passionately is not the same as enacting it courageously. Real, lasting transformative progress is most often a disciplined whisper. It is intensely private. It is forged in the secret, unseen hours of the early dawn and the solitary, sometimes deep depths of the night when no one is watching but Allah. You must understand the nature of your dream in its infancy. Your nascent God-given dreams are tender and vulnerable. Feeling like precious seedlings planted in fragile soil. They require quiet. They require a sheltered, protected space to sink deep strong. They need to water anchoring roots before they can ever hope to weather the world's inevitable storms. Expose them prematurely to the harsh winds of public opinion, and a single cynical word, one sarcastic comment in after a moment of shared doubt can crush them before they break the surface. You must nurture them in holy secrecy. You must fortify them in the private places of your prayer and your action. Let them establish themselves in the certainty of your faith and the consistency of your effort. While the world is oblivious to you, while it sleeps on your potential, you are to be quietly, very faithfully, diligently constructing. You are making dua from the depths of your soul. You are taking consistent, small, smart actions. You are trusting in Allah with every single solitary step. Checkers are leaving the outcome, the how and the when, completely to Him. Please internalize this. You are not behind schedule in the book that Allah is writing for you. Own divinely appointed destiny. Your timeline is yours alone. Stay fiercely focused on your lane. Stay strategically silent about your process. Stay intimately, passionately connected to Allah, the gratitude and reliance. And He, the Supreme Orchestrator, will arrange matters for you in ways that will leave you in awe, in far beyond your limited imagination. Consider this immense twofold advantage, both spiritual and practical. When people are unaware of your specific plans, we're utterly powerless to obstruct them, or intentionally or unintentionally. They cannot critique a blueprint they haven't seen. They cannot drain your energy with unsolicited advice on a journey they know nothing about. You cultivate a divine element of surprise, not from a place of deceit or malice, but from a place of profound spiritual and strategic preservation. By the time society glances over and glimpses what you have, by Allah's grace accomplished, the edifice is already standing tall, a quiet monument to your faith, your patience, and your work. It is a fait accompli. And be acutely aware of this psychological trap sometimes. Can merely discussing your ambitions, sharing them repeatedly, can deliver a deceptive, seductive feeling of progress. It tricks the mind. You feel the thrill of motion, the satisfaction of being seen as a go-getter. But in reality, you haven't moved an inch from your starting point. You can hemorrhage months, even years. Who's in this cycle of talking and planning and discussing concepts that never ever touch the earth, all because you invested your most vital energy, your creative life force, inward entering in reputation management instead of in relentless, focused action. Therefore, understand the higher purpose of silence. It is not fundamentally about secrecy or being mysterious. It is about ferocious, undivided focus. It is about spiritual discipline and protecting your heart. It is about guarding your divine assignment from premature exposure and the energy drain that follows, and placing your complete, tranquil trust in the eternal fact that Allah sees your labor. He values your struggle, and He records your sincerity even when the eyes and applause of the entire world are turned away. This is the economy of energy. The less you speak of unfinished work, the more potent spiritual and mental energy you conserve. A mighty focused reserve you can directly into the work building, strategizing, learning, growing, serving, praying. And when the hour appointed by Allah arrives, when He decides to unveil your fruits, your success will resonate with the power, a depth, some vanity and an authenticity that no mere announcement or promotional campaign could ever hope to conjure. You will not need to argue your case. You will not need to justify your path or defend your choices. The evidence by Allah's boundless leave and grace will stand before them, undeniable and clear. But here, right here, is the subtle, pervasive trap where multitudes fall and remain. They shatter their own focus. They dilute their own power by gazing endlessly, obsessively at the lanes of others. We live in an age engineered for compulsive scrolling and toxic comparison. Your phone serves you a constant, curated feed of someone else's wedding, someone else's promotion, to find it at someone else's new car, someone else's vacation, someone else's spiritual milestone. And in a weak moment, you measure your raw, behind-the-scenes reality against their polished, in the public highlight reel. Someone buys a house and a voice whispers you are failing. Someone shares a career achievement and you feel stunned and left behind. Their journey, their timeline, becomes the distorted false ruler by which you measure the worth and pace of your own. My beloved brothers and sisters, the problem, the fundamental critical error, is never your unique, divinely ordained path. The crisis is never in Allah's plan for you. The problem lies solely in where you choose to fix your eyes. Are they fixed on the creation? You are fixed on the Creator, or are they fixed on the Creator? Are they fixed on the temporary achievements of others, or are they fixed on the eternal promise of your Lord? The command is clear: lift your gaze. You tear it away from the shifting shadows of other people's lives. Turn it inward to audit your own heart and intentions. Turn it upward to the one who holds your destiny in His hand. And then, with that corrected vision, move forward with silent power, with unshakable conviction, knowing with absolute certainty that the only one whose opinion eternally matters, whose support never wavers and whose promise is ever true, is already watching over you. He is already supporting you with forces you cannot see. He is already writing your victory story. And your only task is to trust, to work, and to walk forward in faithful silence. Let that be your revolution. Begin today.